way everybody has 2 minutes to get their act together. One. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, YouTube. We're going to get started in 60 seconds. All right. Yay. Okay. You'd think I've done this like 3 or 4 times. You think I wouldn't still get nervous? I still do. And it's like, it's not even like I see people face to face. It's just the idea that people are watching me nervous. Yeah. But check who's on the ballot, who supports legalization, talk with your vote. All right. How many more seconds we got? I want to make sure that we start. I'm a time Nazi, so I'm just like always like, okay. Yo. Okay. All right. I can't tell. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'll be on here like, what am I doing? Okay. All right. So let's get started. Welcome. And my Facebook. For those of you who have no idea who I am, my name's Natalie Pierre-Lewis, and I'm the owner and operator of MPL Consulting Firm, LLC, a business formation firm. I help entrepreneurs set up strong legal foundations for their businesses by teaching concepts in plain English. So what does that mean in plain English? It means that I help you get that. What are my qualifications, you ask? Well, I am glad that you did that. Here they are. I've been a licensed attorney for over a decade. I've started multiple businesses for myself and others. I have a client who's opening up a second brick and mortar store in the heart of DC. I also have several clients who have online businesses and are going through the trademark process. I've started multiple business. Sorry, I just said that. I had my own pet services business for a while. I've had many careers in the areas of law, entrepreneurship, hospitality, administrative services, and education. And most important, I'm very passionate about making business and legal education as accessible to everyone as possible. Not everybody has the time, money, or desire to go to business school or law school, but when you have things like the internet and people like me who are nerds who like to teach, you can work your way through it. Okay. So if things like this interest you and you want to check out the stuff I do, like my podcast where I interview entrepreneurs in unique areas of industry, or you want to read my blog where I talk about, the tests and trials of being an entrepreneur. Like this week I wrote about, whether I was very driven or whether I was overworked and deciding whether I had to give up some things. You can check all that out using the link in my bio, linktree/NPL consulting firm, linktree/NPL consulting firm, linktree/NPL consulting firm. That's also where you can book me for a free 15-minute consultation if you think that you might want to engage my services. Okay. So now that I have told you, one more thing before we get started on content. If you are within driving distance of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, I, myself, and SG Consulting, which is run by Shara Gibson, we're having a workshop at the end of October 27th. It's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's called the Business Launch Bootcamp. This workshop is going to basically have you leave with an entirely set up business. We're going to help you write a business plan. We're going to get you registered. We're going to get your articles of incorporation drawn up. We're going to get you start your trademark application if that's what you want to do. We're going to get you contracts. We're going to help you set up a business bank account. We're going to show you how to divvy up your money. We're going to set up your LLC. All of that you're going to get in this workshop. The workshop, hello to whoever, hey, Joey. So this workshop that is taking place, hello, Ya Izdawe. This workshop is taking place on October 27th. Again, like I said, early bird tickets are just $99. There are 10 of those left. If the early bird tickets are done, then the price goes up to $147. So think about that. For between $100 and $147, you can get your entire business legal structure set up. So if you're interested in that, hit the link in my bio. It is the first button. Okay. So today we are talking in business. You're not going to be able to do it all. You're not going to be able to be HR, social media, staff, security, maintenance, all that. Eventually, as your business grows, you're going to have to hire employees. And it's really important that you have a process in place so that you can hire the right people who will represent your company in the right way. And the way that you do that is you set your employees up for success. Okay. We're going to be using my employee onboarding guide. It is, if you would like this book along with all of my ebooks that I've written, you can get the entire package. It is in my e-store. It's 6 ebooks for $123. So get on that if you want these books to help you get your business together. So again, this is just one in the set of 6. Okay. Excuse me. So let me get to my page so that I can start, because I think this is a pretty quick topic. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about when you are an employee background check, it's going to review a candidate's criminal records, driving records, whether they're on a terror watch list or some type of sex offender registry. It may also check credentials and a credit background depending on the type of background check that you perform. Okay. The reason why you're going to want to do a background check is to, first of all, it's to protect your business, because if you hire someone and then, something happens and you didn't do a proper background check, what if your business is held responsible? Okay. And the background check is also going to help you screen applicants and make sure that the skills and credentials that they say they have are true. Okay. So now that we know why we want to do a background check, you need to know how to do a background check. Okay. The first thing that you're going to need to do when you are performing background checks for potential employees is that you need to be consistent. You can't do a background check on one person and not do it on another. If you're going to do a background check on one, you need to do it on all, because then you set yourself up for discrimination. Okay. And you're going to want to check everything. So don't check credit reports for one client and for one candidate and not for another. Be consistent. Whatever you check for one, you check for all. Okay. Second, you need to check local laws for what is permissible to check. Some states keep you from checking certain things about a person's personal life. So whatever state you're in, you need to check your local laws as to what is permissible for a background check for the type of position that you are hiring for. Okay. Now, if in your search during the background check, you find information that might raise red flags, give the candidate a chance to explain what happened. If it's a mark on their credit report, maybe it's a mistake. If it was an infraction when they were a juvenile or something on their record, give them a chance to explain, and don't just write them off, because, people make mistakes. Okay. Fourth thing that you're going to want to do in doing a background check is you want to make sure that your background check is FCRA compliant. FCRA stands for Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay. So whatever background service you use, make sure that they are FCRA compliant. The FCRA promotes accuracy, fairness, and privacy of consumer information that they get. So if you use a service and they're FCRA compliant, you can be pretty sure. It's kind of like when you go to a hospital and they have their HIPAA policy and not to divulge information, the FCRA kind of does that for background checks. Okay. Fifth, you need to remember that there are different rules for reference checks and investigative consumer reports. Okay, so there's 2 things. There's reference checks where you're just kind of checking the person's credentials, and then there's consumer reports where you're like going into their credit, all that stuff. If you are going to deny someone employment based on an investigative consumer report, you have to give them a copy of that report. So if you denied them, let's say, you are running a financial institution and you hire this person and you did a background check that included a credit check and they have poor credit, and you're like, well, I can't hire this person because they have poor credit. You have to give them that report and let them know why you're not hiring them. Okay. Now, if it's just something where, you're checking with old employers, you don't really have to do all that, okay? Like I said before, don't do background checks on a candidate by candidate basis. If you're going to do background checks for one, you have to do them for all, because otherwise you can be sued for discrimination, okay? Next. Sorry guys, my scrolling tool is being quite difficult. All right, next, the next thing you're gonna wanna check is when you get your background check, you need to be thorough. You don't want to hire the wrong employee because you didn't look over the report carefully enough. Yes, we make mistakes, but this is your company. You need, if you're gonna spend the money to do these background checks, because they are not free, make sure that you really go over these reports to make sure that you find the pertinent information, okay? Next, this is number 8. If you're doing a reference check, meaning you're checking on old employers, things like that, make sure to stick to the facts. You're asking, were they on time? Did they do their work? You're not asking about their attitude or likability. Did you hang out with them after work? Were they someone who you considered a friend? You're asking about their performance as an employee, not as a person, okay? And 9th, in your background checks, the last thing is you need to make sure that you get permission from the candidate to do a background check. You cannot perform a background check on someone without their knowledge. That is illegal, okay? So those are the rules when you're starting to do a background check, okay? So what are you looking for? Most background checks, like I said, they're going to include a criminal records check, social security validation, an address history check, a U.S. terror watch list check, and a sex offender registry check, okay? There are other optional things that you can check for, like driving records, student transcripts, credit reports, military service records, state licensing records, professional license records, and workers' compensation. So there are a lot of things that you can check for in a background check depending on what you're looking for. Now, we know what we're looking for in a credit report. Where are we going to go to find to get the background check done? So there are a lot of background check companies, and each of them does something different. And I'm going to go through, actually, I'm going to go through all of them here with you so that you can get an idea of the different kinds of companies there are and what you can look for. So there's a company called Good Hire, and they offer all the basics that I talked about, like the criminal check and things like that. And you can get add-ons for extra services like credit checks and professional license verification. There is a company called Connect that will do a background check for you with a turnaround of about 1 to 3 days. There is HireRight, and it does essential background check services along with customizable reports. You have Sterling. They will also include drug testing and credential checking in their background report. You have CrimCheck, but they are similar to the other services that I mentioned. Hello to whoever came in the room. But they're also going to find out if candidates are excluded from participating in federal and state healthcare programs. So this would be a great background check program for healthcare providers, okay? There is another company called Employer's Choice Screening. They offer a comprehensive list of services, including I-9 verification, military history, and workers' compensation. There's a lot of, there's more, guys. There is another company called Open Online. They offer general employment background screening as well as industry-specific screening for industries like finance and banking, transportation, law enforcement, government, and healthcare. And each of those industries has, strict guidelines about who can work for them. There is also a company called CenturyLink that will do a basic background criminal check for $19.95. There is, excuse me, a company called agoodemployee.com. Their basic plan includes education verification and I-9 verification. When I say I-9, if you remember, whenever you file a job, you have to file an I-9, and that basically just means that you can legally work in the country. Okay. There's a company called IntelliCorp. IntelliCorp does the typical background check services along with federal criminal checks, former last name checks in case people change their names, and professional reference checks. There is another company called Employee Screen IQ. They offer a 7-year employment history check, driving records, education verification, and credit reporting. Another company called Trusted Employees offers reasonable plans that include an education background and past employer check. Then you have, I think this is the last one. Yes. And the last one we're going to talk about is HireSafe. This is a company that you're going to want to look to if you're hiring for security or trust position hires, because they offer really comprehensive criminal background checks. Okay. So that's how you do a background check. And those are the companies that you can reach out to for background checks. Again, if you want this ebook, or if you want my entire ebook collection, you can get the CEO ebook bundle in my store for $123. Okay. So you've done your background check on your employee, and everything checks out, and you're like, you know what? I found the right person. And you offer them a job. But do you think that it stops there? It doesn't. While you may hire an employee, and hello, Russ Johns, while you may hire an employee and you've given the description of the job, you still have to let them know how you want the job done for you. Okay. So, they may know Microsoft Office, but maybe you have a specific template that you like to use. It's really important that you set your employees up for success. And one of the first ways that you do this is to review the schedule and job basics. You want to make sure that your employee knows the hours. Are you 8 to 4? Are you 9 to 5? What's their lunch break like? What's your break policy? Because, if you expect them there at 8, but you never told them there, if they roll in at 9:30, you can't be mad at them. Okay. You also need to let them know what the dress code is. We're entering an age where dress codes are becoming more relaxed. However, in certain environments, there's still a level of professionalism that needs to be maintained. And you have to decide what that level of professionalism is for your company. So if you don't want your employees coming in cut-off shorts and spaghetti straps and flip-flops, you need to tell them that. Let them know, do you like full suits? Do you like business casual? Is Friday dress down Friday? Let them know the dress code so that they don't come in and feel embarrassed and you don't see them and be like, you got to go home. Okay. Another thing that some employers don't necessarily think about is letting their employees know the parking rules. Depending on where your company is, parking might be tough, or there might be special rules. So you need to let them know so they don't get towed, or it doesn't take them 15 minutes or 20 minutes to walk from wherever they have to park to get to the job site. Okay. Then you're going to want to review job descriptions and duties. The suggestion that I have for this is to write your employee a welcome letter. Let them know, hey, we're really glad you're here. Let them know how they fit into your company. Let them know, how you like things done. Let them know what is expected of their position. Yes, you're a receptionist or an office manager, but what does that mean in this company? What are they specifically going to be responsible for? What are they going to be expected to do? What initiative do you want them to take? Let them know what their role is with you. Okay. So after you have welcomed your employee and given them, the lay of the land of how you like things run, you need to have them complete new hire forms. These forms are how they're going to get paid and paid on time. Okay. So pretty much all of these forms are essential. So the first thing you're going to need is an employee information form, just so that you can have, the essential information for your new hires, emergency contracts, address, things like that. Because you need to know who's working for you. You need to know where to send mail in case you need to send mail. You're going to need to have them fill out a W-4. This is a federal form. Everybody knows the W-4. It has to be completed before the first paycheck is issued. This is where you tell them how you want to be taxed and, whether you're single, things like that. After the W-4, you have, like I talked about, the I-9. This is a federal form to make sure that you are allowed to work in the United States. You need an I-9 to work in the United States, all right? After your I-9, I don't know any job that doesn't have direct deposit at this point, so you're going to need a direct deposit form. Because outside of when you first start a job, I don't know any jobs that are issuing live checks for real. So the direct deposit form. The next form you're going to want to have them fill out is the Equal Opportunity Data Form. However, this form is only necessary for companies that have 100 or more employees or 50 or more employees that handle federal contracts. So the Equal Opportunity Data Form is only necessary for companies that have 100 or more employees, or if they handle federal contracts, 50 or more employees. All right. So if you, after the Equal Opportunity Data Form, you're going to need a series of self-identification form. Okay. This is going to take demographic information for your candidate. So things like gender, race, ethnicity, veteran status. And this is a form that is often required for federal contracting. So that's going to be important for that. Okay. After the self-identification form, you're going to want to do remember, if you're going to do a background check, you should have already gotten this done, but a background check authorization form, you're going to need to have that on file, okay? And then the last form that you need for your employees, this is at the end of the year, after they've worked for you, you need a W-2 form, and your employees need to receive that by January 31st, okay? Now, so that is pretty much the entire employee onboarding system. It really helps if you have a manual set up so that you don't have to keep going back and forth and checking. Just have a checklist of things that you take care of for each employee so that you can keep track of them. Okay. So do we have any questions on this process? Because that went by pretty fast. About 23 minutes. And while I wait for any questions, again, I want to remind you guys that if you are in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area or close, and you are interested in getting all of your business paperwork set up in one afternoon, I implore you to come to my business launch bootcamp that I'm holding along with SG Consulting on October 27th. It is a 4-hour workshop for $99. We're going to write your business plan, get your contracts, registration, get your LLC set up, whatever you need to get your business legally established, we are going to get it done on that day. It's going to be a hands-on workshop. Come with your computers. We're giving you lunch, we're giving you breakfast, and we're giving you knowledge. So if you're interested, hit the link in my bio. It's the first link up there. Also, check out Linktree/MPL Consulting Firm so that you can check out my blog, my podcast, all the things that I do, the ebooks I write, the programs I'm attending, everything that I do, I put in Linktree at Linktree/MPL Consulting Firm. So go check that out. I don't think we have any questions, so I think we can end it there for tonight. You guys have been so wonderful. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. All right. Good night, everyone.